A Hymn of Petition and a Hymn of Trust by Joachim Neander. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The life story of a writer, his personal experiences and the circumstances under which he wrote, will often give new meaning to a hymn. The circumstances under which a hymn was written particularly will often materially increase our appreciation of it. In fact, in the case of many hymns, the story of their origin is essential to the correct interpretation of them. That beautiful penitential hymn by Joachim Neander is an illustration of the advantage of knowing the life story of the writer. We quote the hymn with its German title and in the excellent English translation of Miss Winkworth, which is the translation most generally used and best known by us. Sieh, hier bin ich, Ehrenkönig. Here behold me as I cast me neath thy throne, O glorious King. Sorrows thronging, childlike longing, Son of Man, to thee I bring. Let me find thee, me a poor and worthless thing. Look upon me, Lord, I pray thee, let thy spirit dwell in mine. Thou hast sought me, thou hast brought me, only thee to know I pine. Let me find thee, take my heart and own me thine. Naught I ask for, naught I strive for, but thy grace so rich and free, that thou givest whom thou lovest, and who truly cleave to thee. Let me find thee. He hath all things who hath thee. Earthly treasure, mirth and pleasure, glorious name or golden hoard, are but weary, void and dreary to the heart that longs for God. Let me find thee, I am thine, O mighty Lord. This was probably the last hymn from the pen of the writer, as it bears the date of 1679 AD, which is the year preceding his death. Joachim Neander was one of the earliest and one of the best hymn writers of the Reformed Church. As a student at Bremen, he was unusually wild and reckless. As an illustration of his spirit, it is told that on one occasion he and several companions went into St. Martin's Church of Bremen with the avowed purpose of making jest of the services, but the sermon so affected him that he became conscience-stricken and in private visited the preacher. The result was that he came more and more into communication with the pastor, whose influence led him to be more circumspect in his mode of life. He continued to love sport and was an ardent hunter. On one occasion he was hunting in a forest, lost his way, and suddenly found himself in dense darkness in a most dangerous position, where a single misstep meant his plunging to death over a great precipice. A feeling of horror came over him. For a few moments he could not move. In his extremity he prayed earnestly to God for help. According to his own story, his courage returned. He felt as though a hand were leading him. Following the path thus indicated, he reached his home in safety. In his prayer at the edge of the precipice, he had vowed, if he reached home in safety, henceforth to devote himself entirely to the service of God. From that day he kept that vow. Neander became very earnest and conscientious. He met and became intimate with Spener, the Lutheran pietist at Frankfurt, and while a teacher in the Reformed grammar school at Düsseldorf, he was wont to hold prayer meetings on his own account. He would also absent himself from the communion, because, as he said, he could not conscientiously commune along with the unconverted. His attitude in these respects, especially as he advised others to do as he did, resulted in his suspension as a teacher. He was forbidden to preach and banished from the town. His pupils would have fought for him, but he would not permit them to do so. There is a story current that he went to a deep glen near Mettmann on the Rhine, where he spent the period of his banishment, which was not very long, living in a cavern. This cavern is still known by the name of Neander's Cave. We are told that while in this cave he wrote several hymns. A hymn written in a cave. A deep and holy awe put thou, my God, within my inmost soul, while near thy feet I draw, and my heart sings in me, and my voice praises thee. Do thou all wandering sense and thought control. O God, the crystal light of thy most stainless sunshine here is mine. It floods my outer sight. Ah, let me well discern thyself where'er I turn, and see thy power through all thy creatures shine. Hark, how the air is sweet, with music from 1,000 warbling throats, which echo doth repeat. To thee I also sing, keep me beneath thy wing, disdain not thou to list my harsher notes. Ah, Lord, the universe is bright and laughing, full of pomp and mirth. Each summer doth rehearse a tale forever new of wonders thou canst do in sunny skies and on the fruitful earth. Thee all the mountains praise, the rocks and glens are full of song to thee. They bid me join my lays, and, Lord, the mighty rock, who safe from every shock, beneath thy shadow here doth shelter me. Intensely personal, the imagery is beautiful and gives a glimpse into the life of the man who has written many hymns which speedily were received into both Lutheran and Reformed hymn books. Many of them lived and are still in general use. If now we will reread his Sie, bin ich, Ehrenkönig, and recall that it was written at the evening of a life begun in recklessness and with a purpose to make jest of religion, and which was filled with earnest piety and conscientious conflict, we will find a richness of penitence and trust, which will make these stanzas, whenever in the future it is our privilege to sing them, most helpful and devoutly impressive. End of A Hymn of Petition and a Hymn of Trust by Joachim Neander.